Hi everyone, today we have new video review, and as you can see this time we are going to talk about fresh release from Special Hobby. It comes in 1/72 scale and we have here SK-37 Viggen in its trainer version. So as you can see it's a double-seater and it should be quite an interesting build in a small scale, so that's why I decided to take a closer look. We have a final shape of this kit here, so that's the let's say something what you will get if you order it, for example, from Special Hobby website, and kit number is SH72381, and I have to say that box art looks really good. So here you can see comparison with my hand. Box size I would say is somewhat standard for 1/72 scale releases from Special Hobby, and here on the side you will see also some information about the manufacturer. Of course it's made in Czech Republic, and here we have also the safety advices. So this is a top opening box. If I open it like this, here's what we have inside. There is assembly manual, and of course all the frames are packed into the same plastic bag. So first we will check the plastic parts, of course, and then we will go on with the assembly manual and other things. So just give me a second. I will open it. It's a resealable plastic bag, so that's why it's easy to open, easy and quick. And we will start with large sprue, which has letter C. So here we have the lower section or lower panel of the wing, and as you can see we have the wing mechanization pre-molded, so you won't be able to position it in some different version. Also here we have the front canards, and also we have some parts for the air brakes which are molded separately, surprisingly. And why it's surprisingly, because as you can see these air brakes are molded separately, but still we get mechanization molded in, so that's something what might be a bit cumbersome for some modders, because it's always fun to change the mechanization on the modern aircraft. But as you can see, this mechanization and also wing edges, they will serve as a guiding elements, and this is actually a smart design, because in such way you will be able to preserve the overall right shape of the wing, and it will look natural. You avoid any possible gaps and other things. And as far as you can see, the canards are also molded as a single piece parts, so this is also a welcome thing, because it will also help you avoid any unnecessary things. By the way, note that for the canards mechanization we have the separate parts, so at least this, and maybe on this aircraft, because I'm not specialist in Viggens, but maybe here we have front canards mechanization actually in a parked position in a down version, but we will see. Next we continue with another sprue. So here we have mix of various parts. You'll find not only the cockpit elements, for example here we have the pilot seat parts and instrument panels. We also have landing gear wheels, we have landing gear legs, and everything looks really good. Do not forget that this is a 1/72 scale, so that's why these parts are as big as my fingertips. Still they look really nice, and of course you can upgrade them with the original CMK upgrades made out of resin. It will be up to you if you actually eager to spend more, but I would recommend to do so, because even in 1/72 scale it should be quite large model, so that's why all the upgrades, they will be noticeable. But landing gear wheels out of the box, as you can see, there are one-piece parts, so this is really cool, because for those modders who don't want to spend extra, they actually get really nice parts in the standard package. Next we continue with the Sprue E. So here we have quite an interesting thing. Actually it's a Sprue E and also Sprue D with these wing parts. Maybe I'll zoom out again so that you can see the whole sprue. So what do we have here is the nose cone. I'm just looking at the front canards, so again we have pretty much the same design as what we had on the main wing. And I'm not sure which ones will be used. I guess the larger ones should be used for the double-seater, but we will see. But returning back to this nose cone, as you can see it should be glued out of two hulls. So if I flip it over and maybe bring it like this, you can see that we have some guiding elements inside, but that's pretty much all. And I'm not sure, I think I saw some of the aftermarket manufacturers actually releasing the one-piece part for the nose cone, and in my opinion this is a really important upgrade, because even in 1/72 scale it will be a noticeable thing. so that's why it might be a good idea to spend a bit more, get a one-piece part, and this way you will get to improve the appearance of your model and avoid any unnecessary problems. But it's up to you if you're eager to go this way. And what is interesting at the same time is that we have this air intakes. As you can see here, they're molded as a single piece parts. So they are preserved with this special frame and they are coming as a single piece part. So yeah, at least this part will not have any gaps or something else, but I would rather prefer nose cone, to be honest, because it's the most noticeable part of this aircraft. Nevertheless, we continue with more parts. So here we have 3 cockpit bases. We also have the air intake ducts, and also here you can see the air brakes for the fuselage. So everything looks really nice. This is, by the way, the nose wheel well. It comes as a single piece part. Maybe I can zoom in a bit more. And if we flip it over, here inside the fuel tanks we have the guiding elements, so it should be quite easy to combine them together. You shouldn't be worried about any unnecessary problems, but again, you can resort for some aftermarket resin upgrades, which will make these parts actually one-piece things instead of 2-piece assemblies, but it will cost extra money, of course. Next, we continue with some fuselage sections. This is a Sprue B. So here you can see that this is a bottom section and these are 2 tail sections which should be combined together. As far as I remember, they were actually copying the panel lines on the real aircraft. That's why their separation will look natural once you join them. Here, by the way, you can see the main wheel landing gear legs, wheel legs. And if we zoom into these panels, you can see that external features include the recessed panel lines and rivets. So everything is pretty much up to the standard. We also have these slots for air brakes, and if I flip it over, I can see that there are guiding elements as well here and here as well. So it's quite a nice design, and I think it should combine into good model without any additional issues because of such design. Next, we continue with the separate Ziploc bag, which brings us the clear frame. Obviously here we have the canopy parts, and this is a sprue. I do not see a letter on the sprue, so I guess it's just a clear sprue. I will show it in a second. So here it is. And as I said, we have all the canopy parts. You can actually open them on your models, which is really important even on double-seater, because you will be able to show the cockpit inside, and in 1/72 scale it should be quite a neat feature, and it might be actually a good reason to upgrade the cockpit details, because they will be visible. It is possible to exhibit them on your build. Next, we continue with another fuselage section. So this is actually the top fuselage section. That's why I'm not zooming out, just to show you this part closer. And what I really like is that all this area is actually molded as a single piece part. You do not have any ugly seams and gaps here. This is really cool. Also here we have the landing gear doors. Next, we continue with the some parts for the engine nozzle. And again, as far as I remember, CMK produces the engine nozzle for this aircraft, so if you would like to have something more detailed, it might be a good idea to upgrade. And here, by the way, you can see the main landing gear doors from the opposite side, and here is the top fuselage section, again from the opposite side. Next, we will move on to the last gray plastic sprue. Because what might have surprised you, because we had the top fuselage section for the single-seater, right? So for the double-seater, you need this sprue with letter I. Here we have the double-seater version of this top cover, and overall design is pretty much the same. We just get 2 places for the pilots, and again, I'm glad that here we have the one-piece part, but it's not cool that we get the 2-piece cone, nose cone. And again, if we flip it over here, you can see that we have some guiding elements which will help you with overall alignment. And as far as you can see, if I bring it closer here on the camera, you can see that attachment points are really thin, and that's I would say shows the quality of this kit, because not all kits even today still feature thin attachment points which are easy to cut through. Okay, next I'm opening, and you might hear the plastic bag with decals. It's not written where they are printed, But overall printing quality looks really good, so I will show them like that. As you can see, a lot of stencils for 1/72 scale. It will be quite a fun to apply all these tiny writings, and they are quite readable even in this tiny size. I do not see any decals for the cockpit, to be honest. Yeah, this is rather surprising because I do not see also the P parts or something else. So you will have to do everything by your own, or maybe get some PE set in order to upgrade the cockpit. So in order to understand how the model will be assembled, we have the assembly manual, of course. It comes in form of this cover printed brochure. We have short history note in English and Czech. Then we continue with the parts map. Note that some parts still remain unused, and there are plenty of those actually, so pay attention so that you use the right version of the part for your aircraft, because otherwise you might end up with a not right configuration of your Viggen. So next we start the assembly with the pilot seat, and straight away here manufacturer gives you some recommendations on how to paint the parts. And it will be quite important because some of these elements obviously in the cockpit, they should be painted in advance. Later it will be really difficult to get to them. And as you remember, we do not have decals, so you might work with dry brushing in order to pick up all these details on the instrument panel. As you can see, it's a gray instrument panel with the black elements, so that might be a solution, just to work with a dry brush. But again, I remind you that you can also get the P parts for this kit. And cockpit assembly will be done twice, obviously, because we have a double-seater here, and then we continue with the top fuselage section. Here you have also to install this separate panel, which is in between the cockpit, front and aft. And next we continue with pilot seats getting inserted into the cockpits, which are already connected to the fuselage. By the way, do not forget to drill some holes, as you can see here. And then we start joining this fuselage with the lower fuselage panel. So here you have to be careful in this area, in the air intakes. And then we start working on the tail section. So here it's just a matter of combining of all these parts together, as you can see. And next we continue with the nose cone. So for the nose cone, I see that there is no weight mentioned. And I wonder if it is intentional. I mean, you won't get a tail seater with such configuration, but do not forget to put something just in case, because otherwise it will be quite a shame to have a tail seater out of this whole build. So next we continue with the tail surfaces. It means the tail fin, which is molded together with the rudder. Here we install various pylons under fuselage. And next, so here we proceed with the nose landing gear. We assemble the main landing gear. And also here we install the front canards in place. So as far as you can see, we will use the ones which were molded without the mechanization. So actually the smaller version, which is quite interesting. And here we continue with fuel tanks. Also you can choose between the air brakes, so either in deployed or stowed position. And here we continue with canopy parts. So you can also open the canopies, as you remember, even manufacturer shows it. Pitot tube is separate here. And next, here we have first, let's say, short overall view of the 3 marking options which are included into this kit. And then we have a detailed marking guide, which is, I would say, quite traditional in its scheme. This camouflage might be a lot of fun to actually replicate in 1/72 scale, while this two, it will be a bit more problematic with the metallic surfaces on the model, so you will have to be really careful with the overall finish of your model. As you remember, metallics are always tricky. Here we have the stencils application guide. I guess it's universal for all 3 markings. And then we have a small ad for other models in 1/72 scale. We reviewed them as well, so you can find it on our YouTube channel. And by the way, here we have the ad for the Viggen sets from CMK. We reviewed them, so you can find it also on our YouTube channel. As for today's kit, it should be already available. You can get it on Special Hobby website, and in my opinion, it's a really interesting thing to build in this small scale. It could be a really cool model. Of course, I will be happy to hear your opinion about this release. Do not forget to write it here in the comment section below. If you like this video, press the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and I will see you in the next video review as usual. Thank you for joining me today, and bye.